So I don't know that we were really completely ready when we were about to meet Kenneth Hopkins. Not certain if there's a relation to Bud, but in any case, this was a lot to take in. MK Ultra and routine visitations, military. There's a lot, and we broke it in half, and it gets stranger towards the end. So we'll get to it. Enjoy.
I get a lot of interference from the military.
All the time, still.
Yeah, they monitor vehicles, my friends. It's ongoing. There's been assaults involved. So when I've been doing shows with Christina George, they've been disrupting them. They disrupted the last one a couple weeks ago so that she couldn't speak. She can hear me, but she couldn't speak. So we had to shut the show down. So
holy moly. Okay.
So
hopefully we don't.
No. So basically what I'm getting in, I'm working at two avenues. One is disclosure. People need to know the military is involved with celestials. All military, U.S. military branches and overseas branches are involved with celestials. And the unit I'm involved with also does abductions. I've been in their ships. So, and then the other thing I'm working with is I've been doing interviews worldwide. And so these interviews have been getting me my research from other contactees of other celestial groups. And I'm looking to get the messages from their celestials in another book I'll be working to get together. And I've done some 12 shows last year. So it's about getting the correct information out. There's good ETs, there's bad ETs. So I'll let you guys take over on questions.
Okay. Can you tell us how you got involved in MK Ultra? How did that happen?
That was an expanded program in the 1960, 61. So they were using Boston Children's Hospital to do the procedures. And there were several instances of people jumping out of the windows of several years back. But Harvard University and Yale were participating with their psychiatrists. I was working, the psychiatrist they assigned me to, oh God, I wish I could remember his name. It'll come to me. So at Boston Children's Hospital, because I was having learning difficulties. So we became the subjects they wanted to go after for the MK Ultra. So they sent me to Boston Children's Hospital. And at about age 6 and 7, I don't quite remember, they put an IV in my arm and they had me do procedures under hypnosis to a young child. So that was the beginning of that. Now, my parents had given them permission to provide transportation. So then what they were doing is picking me up at my home and taking me to horrible crime scenes.
Taking you to horrible
homicides.
Projects.
And they committed homicides.
Oh my goodness.
So at 7, I'm witnessing the homicides. I participate in the torturing of a girl. This process brings about dissociation. Then they train the personality. Once they've created dissociation, and then my personality will have no recollection of what the created personality does. So they used me in missions, and eventually I got memory of the missions. I kind of accidentally found this out when I was doing hypnotic regressions on abductions. But at that time, my interest was, I have to get into the MK Ultra procedures now to reverse what they've done to me. So I'm working with the military became a big problem, working with the military psychologists and psychiatrists. So the last psychologist I was working with died at 45, respiratory, no explanation. She was approached by two men in suits asking her to record her sessions. She agreed to record the session. She thought it was voluntary. Then she changed her mind, and we believe she was killed with a neurotoxin. Her respiratory arrest was within 10 minutes, she stopped breathing. The neurotoxin will also stop the heart. They used this on another woman. So it's vicious around. My previous abduction 2 years ago, they broke all the ribs on my 7 ribs. I'm dealing with surgery to try to reconstruct those ribs. But where I was abducted by the military, and I believe it was a location in Canada, I sent you a clipping. They explained how 3 American soldiers jumped on me, breaking the ribs on a table. So I'm gonna do a regression this weekend to find out exactly what happened. I could act. Over the years, I've done a lot with hypnosis. I think hypnosis is a tremendous healing tool. MK Ultra has used it in horrible ways. So to deal with flashbacks and so forth, I've chosen hypnosis. I've been working with this woman for 4 or 5 years. And then of course, my current work is talking to other contactees all over the world, finding about.
And are you finding many?
About 100. So I'm not looking for specifics. I'm looking for generals. I'm dealing with what I call the higher frequency beings, which unity, love, companionship, coming together. And there's the lower frequencies that use fear, hate, anger, separation, division. Trump, a Republican Party, seems to have a strong tendency with that. Trump has used a form of terror to rule. And the reptilians are very much the same way. The people having the reptilian abductions are terrified. They've tortured because they want the fear. They need the fear. The reptilians cannot deal with the higher frequencies, like love, compassion.
Hey,
So,
and is that our only way to combat them?
and there, I was being interviewed for a Harvard publication, and I contributed to it. But the one woman found a way to get out of the reptilian abductions. There's a voluntary aspect to the abductions, and she said she went before the Federation, but then when I had another woman who was being tortured by the reptilians in her nights, and I was trying to get help for her, but when I talked to this woman, she directed me to the Catholic Church, which is useless. So then it made me doubt her appearance in the Federation. That was a story she made up. So, but
Why do you think she made up a story like that?
Well, it got her a good position, a publication of a major Harvard publication, which is the most comprehensive study. See, I should show you the book, but no, I'm going to send you some stuff.
Great.
It's the most worldwide comprehensive study done on celestial interactions ever done worldwide. Harvard published it under the John Mitchell Association. And he was about getting the information on the celestials out. So this book interviews hundreds or thousands worldwide of contactees. And so it's the most comprehensive book I've seen on the level of exploration. So I found that to be a good outline. What I'm looking for is general information. the Palladians have, I'm primarily Palladian involved. Now,
Okay.
back to the MK Ultra may not be a part of the celestial interactions and the military interactions. But as a child, in 1953, I was an embryo implant in my mother. They're doing genetic projects in the Truman era. I just started to look at that. There was a lot that I wasn't able to get out of the Truman era, other than the formation of Aegis Prime, which later formed with the CIA, which also dropped the ship that crashed in Roswell. All this information has been removed. I did a lot of research when information was much looser in 2000, 2003. I didn't know I was a contactee. And then things picked up after 2000 for me, flashbacks, and then I started exploration. Now I'm involved.
How old were you then?
50 something.
Wow. Yeah.
So I knew I had blackouts.
Okay.
I was waking up with surgical wounds on me. So something was going on. So the military, the Palladians and the Greys were involved in the embryo implant. The embryo implant was half Palladian. What?
How did they operate together?
What they implanted was a Palladian and a Palladian egg from a Palladian woman. And then they took my father's genes, and that was what they put in my mother. Now, I believe there's a lot more of these projects that were going on in the Truman era, but most of my research is caught up with what's happened in the Eisenhower era. But Aegis Prime, Walter Stein came over to speak with Truman. Truman was president after the war, after Roosevelt died, right? Okay, I said that. So he met with Truman on what they called Hitler's occult. Walter Stein was aware that there was ET involvement with Hitler. So they worked out a program that deals specific with the Celestials, and that organization became Aegis Prime in the late 40s. It would later join in with the CIA. Now, Aegis Prime, there was a group that wanted to bring about communication with the Celestials. They went on a mountain.
Were they just private people? Were they private people?
No, they were people of the organization, Aegis Prime.
Okay, Aegis Prime.
They went on a mountain to summon a ship in, telepathically. Two ships came in and two ships were dropped by another division of Aegis Prime. Those landed in Roswell.
Okay.
And that information I came about, they were breaking in, stealing a lot of documents I was getting off the internet. I was using theories, combining words, and coming up with classified information. So that information on Aegis Prime and Walter Stein doesn't exist anywhere on the internet. So
wow.
I'll let you guys take over and ask questions.
Okay. Gosh.
Well,
Are you still being okay, Colin?
No, I mean, I have a question here, Kenneth. You mentioned a little while ago reptilians. Now you said that you've encountered at least 12, 13 different species, celestials or whatever. Who are the reptilians? Where are they from?
The reptilians are amongst us. They're cloaked. The reptilians were here before much of man. They had a base on the moon, which they were removed from. The moon is not a planetary structure. It's a titanium shell And the rocks that NASA brought back were uranium-235 from the moon. So the moon is a craft. It comes and it goes. We caught a projection that was coming from New Hampshire, and I'll send that picture to you, of what the eyes didn't see on a lunar eclipse. It shows a beam being projected into the sky, shows the moon. It's a very interesting picture, but the ship is a lot older than the Earth, and the just recently released was Armstrong's statement on the ships that were watching them when they did the original moon landing.
Mm-hmm.
And they were banned to return to the moon, of course. All of the Pleiadians is, of course, the group that has since the age of 6, has taken me to their night classes. Our memories of these night classes are somewhat erased. And they've explained it's the pertinence at this time. The mission, or where I come from with the Pleiadians are from the future, the ones I'm involved with. They're from after the event that does a major job to Earth. So they're in taking actions to prevent this event from occurring. And so they've set up, I don't know how it goes, but there's a past. We're in the past to the horrendous event. They won't tell me what the horrendous event is. I know Earth's evacuation has been prepared for. The Greys have manufactured enough ships from a contact in Germany. She explained they have completed the ships for Earth's evacuation.
Gosh, where do they want us to evacuate to?
They have 2 planets. They're looking to do two different group evacuations. And now I'm getting somewhat, that's what I've been told. Speculative. Now the Greys have divided man into 2 categories. Those that serve one another and those that serve themselves.
So not all of us will get to go. Is that the idea?
No, they'll be put, one will go to one planet, another will go to another planet. Okay. Let the greed be together. But now to get to the Pleiadians' religions, the Pleiadians believe to serve the creator, we serve one another. They don't have structured religious institutions. That includes their economic and their monetary policies. There's no money in their economics. Money sets up for slavery. So this aspects the Pleiadians are sharing with me, and I'm working to write, but of course I can't do it on a connected computer. So all my writing is on a disconnected hidden computer. So, but there seems to be 2 groups monitoring. One is a little looser than the other.
Okay.
I can text on my cell phone to Facebook. I can't write from the computer to Facebook. So I haven't figured exactly what's going on. But so this military branch, I was abducted 2 years ago. During restraining and a table, they broke all the ribs down here. I've been listed. I'm in debating on getting disability, but it's a secret division. There's no recognition of it anywhere.
Right.
And that's the way these military divisions are. Now, the primary communication with the celestials and man is telepathy, which opens up the spiritual realm, the 4th dimension. So most of us, because we're telepathically developed, we're excellent psychics. And I was surprised when I was doing psychic development classes, I was surprised how the best ones all had ET contact.
Okay. But not everybody had. in these classes?
No, the ones that didn't have the ET contact didn't seem to develop.
At all?
No, they developed some because we were working, but the ones that developed the fastest were the ET connected ones.
Okay.
Even though many are having ET contact that are unaware they're having ET contact. I was unaware to the age of 50. I thought the dreams, the surreal situations at night were dreams. And then I came to realize they weren't.
Wow.
And so as we entered the hypnosis with the Gray's abductions, and the books I'm writing are having to do with the Gray's abductions in 76 through 78, how they were able to take a vehicle and driver, an hour disappears, they do the procedure on the woman, and then they bring the car back with the person still driving. That was a Gray's abduction. So the only thing you knew about was the clock is missing an hour.
Pretty slick cats.
Yeah, so that they can take you out, bring you back in. In their surgical procedures, they suspend the bodies. No bleeding, nothing. They take it apart like a model, reassemble it, and then unsuspend it. The Greys are time masters. In numerous situations, a lot of the Greys abductees, but I don't know if I could just say this is for the Greys abductees. They've been able to prevent deaths by reversing situations, car accidents. So car accidents seems the most prevalent one. They pulled me out of 3 car accidents. And then suddenly I find myself driving on the street with nothing. I'm about ready to collide with a truck, going between the wheels of a truck. I'm pretty sure I'm dead. And the next I know, I'm driving down the road straight. So time was affected, distorted. I don't know how they do. I don't have an explanation. Somebody was talking dimensional change, but I don't think that's what's occurring. I've also woken up at 5 a.m. at night, gone to bed and woke up at 3 a.m.
Wow.
I don't have an explanation for that. It happened to me in Africa and it happened to me here. And my son experienced it as well. At first, I thought it was my imagination until my son described it. Then I realized the whole house. And then in Florida, in Uganda, I wake up with my wife. The light is coming in through the windows. I go into the bathroom. It's dark outside. So somehow, I don't have an explanation. I don't have an explanation, and I've given up on looking for explanations for a lot. This is what happens. Why it happens, our sciences don't work with the celestial sciences. There's 2 different sciences taught. There's sciences taught for Harvard, and there's sciences taught for state colleges and 2-year colleges.
And it's different.
So our history, strangely enough, anthropology was put together by the Jesuits.
Okay.
So the theory was
Really?
put together to exclude the existence of the celestials as playing a role in man's development on Earth. So they rewrote anthropology. There's cave walls that show pictures of a dinosaur, pictures of a helicopter, pictures of a submarine. It's like anthropology does not have it right. They're finding machine items that are 5 million years old. So I'm hoping the new wave of anthropology starts to include what they call black market anthropology. And the sciences are great for this. We just call it a phenomena. But I've studied much physics, science, and so forth. You can't have exceptions to a rule. a scientific rule has to have no exceptions. Phenomena is what science uses to exempt what it can't explain, which means science is not complete.
No.
Okay.
But anyway, if you have any questions, I
Yeah.
can talk on and on.
Okay.
Well, you're fascinating, so we're pleased.
I
Okay.
appreciate the opportunity to speak whenever I can on radio or podcasts or television.
Yeah, Kenneth, I mean, you seem to believe that most of modern anthropology is completely fake. I actually studied a bit of anthropology, and I mean, I didn't doubt that the anthropological studies of like what was happening in Central America and Mexico and places like that where I mean, to me, I completely trusted it, but you seem to believe that it was the Jesuits sometime in 18th century, somewhere around there, where they started suppressing, uh, suppressing any
Information, digs.
information about contact with
The
celestial.
Giants is a good one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, has this been ongoing? I'm
hoping the new generation of anthropologists coming up look at the evidence that's being pulled out of the ground. For example, the Egyptian pyramids were not built by the Egyptians. They were power generators. They have rivers running underneath them. The outer rock of the pyramid insulates. It's an insulative rock. The inner layer of rock is conductive. So the Egyptians have banned anyone going into the tunnels beneath the, because, it's been their money maker, the pyramids. Pyramids are all over the world, under sea, above sea, by men. So to say the Egyptians came to them and then hollowed them out and then put their bodies in them. The other thing is the Egyptians wrote about everything they did was done in their language. Nothing comes up on the building of the temples. The theories that they put forward now, the level of labor involved it couldn't be supported with food and nutrition. So that, and then.
What are your thoughts then? How did they appear?
As is going to start to be seen, celestials settled the earth. The Pleiadians have told me they settled it tens of thousands of years ago. And when I called the Pleiadians have a number of them have breeding programs. I called the Pleiadians breeding program a hybrid program, and they got pissed off. And they said, because there's a certain amount of tension between the Greys and the Pleiadians. And they said, no, we mate among our own. Now, I've been involved with other hybrids. In the Pleiadians, abductions are ongoing. I've had 4 this week. It's difficult to perceive or understand what the hell. I'm having trouble understanding what the hell is going on with these experiences. But they've been involved taking me to factories. I don't know where the hell they are. So as I'm becoming more aware, I'm asking people in the abductions or teleportations. Plasma teleportation is used a lot by the Pleiadians, the military, and the Greys have another process, which I haven't figured out. They use a beam. They can take you through the roof of your house. They chase people around their beds. The story of the giant needle I've heard from many. So the Greys have their own thing. The Greys have been somewhat attentive to me because they've done incredible surgical procedures on me.
Yeah, hey, Kenneth. Now you spoke recently about your 7 broken ribs and stuff like that. You've also mentioned, I think your knees were replaced or your hips.
The knees were
your lungs,
replaced.
various organs. Have you?
The lungs have been replaced. There's cresses here. The brain has been replaced.
So I guess we weren't really wrong. And yeah, so sorry about that, but let's wait for a week and hear the end of this. It's a lot to take in. Canada gets involved. It's a lot. Okay. See you next week.